Hey guys, I'm Matt Farah from The Smoking Tire, and when I'm not making videos, parking cars over here. This is our shop, Westside Collector Car Storage in Playa Vista, California. We now have two shops. One is in the South Bay, but this is our flagship location. Come on in, let's take a tour. So we call this the Cathedral Room for obvious reasons. The light coming through these stackers and all these cars is very beautiful, and the room really opens up when you come in here. My friend Carl Ruiz used to say that a watch, a car, and a house are all the same size on Instagram, so you can never really tell the scale of anything in a little 2x2 square on your phone. And that's the same with this room. You have to kind of be here to understand the height. It's 45 feet tall. We are the first people to ever do indoor quad vehicle stackers. We're also the first people to ever do quad stackers over a basement, because we have an underground level here. And we're also the first people to ever do quad stackers in a seismic zone, because we're here in Los Angeles where they have earthquakes. So we're certainly the first people to do all of those things together at once. So these are Park Plus QP1000H quad vehicle stackers. And you're standing, and I'm standing on a 3-foot slab of high density concrete with two grids. We built this whole building and it took 4 years. So we have the very latest in fire protection. As you can see, the sprinklers that come all the way down the lifts and have nozzles for every single car. We've got battery tenders that go all the way up, so every car is on a battery tender at all times, and we keep it nice and tidy in here. This room, believe it or not, can hold up to 90 cars, and if I look, there's probably about 88 in here right now. Our underground level can hold 40 more. Over here, we have our fully permitted indoor wash and detail bay. Very difficult to get this in California, particularly indoors, but we have it. It's very hard. We have to recycle and filter all of our water. We use ammo products, and as part of our service, our clients do get complimentary car washes on request, so they can always leave Westside with a clean car. As you kind of look around, you see a pretty good cross-section of what people are driving in Los Angeles. You see muscle cars, you see lots of Porsche GT cars, you see relatively modern and late model Ferrari and Lamborghini. You also see some classic European stuff. There's some old Mercedes SLs and vintage BMWs around. Of course, there's a Bronco or two, and you see a couple of everyday cars, because here at Westside, our memberships are not assigned to any one particular vehicle. And so, for instance, if our client takes out his sports car for the day or weekend, they leave their daily driver Macan behind. Same thing you see with a Cayenne up here. Everyone seems to have Porsche daily drivers as well. You've also got some really cool stuff like this huge body Eldorado that just moved in. Believe it or not, that thing only has 9,900 original miles on it. That's very cool. You've got stuff like the new BMW M5 CS, you've got McLarens, you've got Alpinas, you've got vintage Porsche, modern Porsche, a pair of Rolls Royces. It's amazing because it represents a sort of variety of cars in Southern California, but it's stuff that people actually want to drive. What we don't have a lot of here are Pebble Beach style cars, brass era cars, stuff that just sits around. People want to keep their cars here who want their cars to be ready to drive. So come back under here and we'll actually follow me this way. These are the motors that power the lifts. We've got 3 of these 20 horsepower hydraulic motors, and each of them powers 6 lifts. So watch your step this way. Ferrari 328, love that. So these lifts are tandem, right? So In order to get a car off the back lift, you don't have to take the cars off the front lift, you just have to move this. A lot of people are like, but what if a car's on top and I want to get it down? We have staff for that. But also, we arrange the cars in order of likeliness to go out. So pretty much all of the cars that you see on the floor, they're going to go out with some regularity. They need to be ready to go. The higher up the lift you go, the less likely the car will need to go out. Even if you had to get a car from the furthest corner of the shop, you're talking about 20 minutes. And if a car's up there and someone's coming to get it, I promise you we have more than 20 minutes notice. So come on down. Vintage Jag, this has got a LS3 in it. That's pretty cool. 70s hot rod Jag XK. XJ, it's an XJ, sorry. Some old 50s Bel Air. And then this is like Ferrari corner. It's a good corner. You've got a Pista, you've got a 575 with a manual, as it should be. You've got your 430 Scuderia, and then you've got a Mondial T in an interesting color. Then up there above the Bel Air is a beautiful Dino coupe. There really are. We have a high percentage of Ferrari right now, but then also tons of air-cooled Porsches, ton of 993 S and 4S right now. All right, come this way, but watch your step. Sort of sidestep here. Mind the Scuderia. This is kind of neat. This is belongs to German tuner Strosik. They've got a whole new body that they've put on this car that they've designed. That's kind of neat. It's got a little Huracan Technica GT3 Touring. It's an old Land Cruiser. I think that's what they call the 70 series, 60 series, 70 series. The boxy one. It's the boxy one. And then, you know, a whole smattering of, here's your 911 GT3 Touring, a Carrera GTS, a GT2 RS. You know, lots of Porsche. Shall we go downstairs? All right, the underground level. A little less glamorous than the Cathedral Room, but we've tried to make it look nice with these sort of backlit halos down here. These are a little less pretty than upstairs, admittedly, but these are actually our assigned spots, and they're a little more expensive. These spots are for when people don't want their car moved unless they are here to move it, right? And I think this is a great example of what we represent at WCCS. Brand new Bentley, Volvo 240. These two people pay the exact same amount of money every month to have their cars here, and they are equally happy customers. Like, that person doesn't think they're overpaying and that person is underpaying. I mean, it's literally, the cars are special. They're not necessarily expensive. To a point, you have to justify it, but you know, the level of care that we give to the cars is going to be a high level regardless of if it's your grandmother's Volvo 240, which is literally what that is, or your brand new Bentley.
Ask the story of that EG Civic over there.
The EG Civic is my assistant manager Russell's car. Everyone who works here has really good taste in cars. My general manager Eric has like 6 dope cars. Russell's got the EG Civic and an Integra, like a 98 Integra. Adam has a 240 that he dailies and drifts. There's a lot of really good enthusiast cars among the staff. At one point 2 years ago, every single person who worked here owned a BMW M3. They were all different generations, but like we all had them. It was pretty fun. So down here, sort of same as upstairs, you've got your classic American muscle. You've got a whole bunch of Porsche GT cars of various shapes, sizes, colors. Big body Mercedes 6.9. You've got a Buick GNX here. a Lamborghini Espada that hasn't run in probably 2 decades, and then a Nissan twin turbo 300ZX next to it. Those 2 cars are owned by the same person. And over in the corner here, you've got like, when I own the place, it's like my stuff just goes wherever there's room at that moment. So this is my Bentley Turbo R. That is my daily driver. Although I'm driving a press car right now. This is my wife's Nissan POW, which I got her for her birthday a few years ago. And then my Porsche 718 Spider with the demand motor is in the back. I'm gonna need to dig that out to go to Good Vibes on Friday. So that's tomorrow's mission, will be to get that out. We do motorcycles here. They get the same treatment as cars. That's my Vespa. That's my other daily driver. That's actually my most of the time daily driver. I ride the Vespa like all the time. Just a real interesting variety down here. We don't have a lot of like hot roddy stuff. All of the muscle cars down here are actually pretty stock, which is kind of interesting to have like 10 muscle cars here and they're all like basically stock. I think that's a sort of unique thing. This E30 M3 has a complete E46 M3 powertrain in it, which I've driven this one just very, very short distances, but I had a real go in one once, and that's an amazing driver's car. You've got Acura NSXs, all kinds of good stuff. Let's go upstairs and we can check out oh, come on here, I'll show you my ramp. I'm very proud of my ramp. To get down here, one of the problems in LA is because they don't have like proper sewers, they just crown all the roads. And then when it rains, the water runs along the side of the roads. It's a terrible system. And what happens is low cars scrape. And so I said, look, if I have to make a driveway, cars are not going to scrape on my driveway. Will not happen. So with our ramp to get down to the lower level here, I benchmarked the C7 Corvette ZR1, which at the time was the longest, lowest car you could get without a nose lift. And so we made a wooden buck. We ran it up and down and up and down and up and down. And in fact, the only marks you can see on the driveway from scraping, which are right here, are from that Espada, which came in with the tires seized. So that's what that is. So it is virtually impossible to scrape a car getting in here, which is really important for me, because cars are low. And then that's the Ineos that I'm driving, which is why my poor Bentley is parked, because I'm driving not a Defender. Let's go upstairs. So, this is our podcast studio. Looks a little different without the studio lights on, but you get the idea. When we were building the building, we had already been doing the podcast for like 7 years, and we said, okay, we finally deserve a decent studio. Our studio before this one was awful, and before that we were in our living room. So building a studio, as it turns out, in the context of an entire building, not that hard. But we do have special floors, special ceiling. The tiles and all the walls are the internals of all of it is designed to absorb sound, and you can really hear the sound change when you close the door and everything, and it's very nice.
Just walking in here.
We'll close the door. The air just dies. So it's really good for radio.
It's so crazy.
Yeah. So it's like there's the stuff on the wall that you see, which those are my brother-in-law, rest in peace, John, had the company that made those, and made all these, the laser cut ones. But it's actually the stuff that's inside the floor and the walls that really does make the difference. Yeah. Wow. I did not clean for you. Fair warning, I didn't clean, but when I'm not out testing cars, this is where I rule the universe. I have a great view, I have a great view there, and then I get to stare at the cameras and watch the the boys do what they do. And I've got all kinds of stuff that I'm like doing for ads, whatever. And a lot of James May's gin.
All right, well, thank you very much for having us,
course.
man. We really appreciate you taking the time. I know you've got quite a busy schedule, but yeah, thank you so much. This place is awesome.
It is. Thank you for coming.
Yeah.
WCCS.com. Find us if you need us in LA.